I've had such a headache just trying to start this game. Cause Razor's being a dick. Cause, I hate Razor right now. It had a stupid FPS counter that just would not go away. And I didn't even know it was Razor until now. So yeah, let's just go back into this with a totally clear head and totally not one of anger. We were dealing with Riria, right? The plan was to go to bed early and wake up refreshed. However, for some reason, my body was heavy and it felt like I had a bad dream. I was probably just exhausted to the core. The whole world outside looked awfully gray, as if reflecting my own sluggish state. My alarm clock failed to wake me up. According to the clock, it was far later than when I usually had to get up. It didn't seem like I didn't have time to do my daily yoga before breakfast. My mother had a performance coming up, so it seemed she spent the night at her studio. It was common of her to stay there overnight when she was deep in her work, so this was hardly anything new. Thus, my father usually made breakfast. He was a general practitioner, so as such, he was very picky about nutritional balance and always ready meals with that in mind. Not that I'd ever tell my mother this, but my father was probably the better cook. She was a dedicated actress. She'd always say that time spent on housework was time better spent studying her roles. In that sense, it was pretty unfair that she forced me to go through cooking classes. Well, that was just about how things were with my family. My parents were both devoted to their respective professions. We didn't usually come hang out or take trips like that with family, but we all loved each other. Dad was just about to leave. In person, he was a man of few words, but in his text, he was very friendly and cute.
今朝最悪。こんなに寝坊しちゃったの初めてかも。
そうか?
Dad gave a curt response as he tied his shoes. From the perspective of a doctor like him, waking up late might just be the body reacting to his desire for sleep. Though he probably didn't care too much as long as I didn't miss school.
いってらっしゃい。お父さん、愛してる。
Aww.
Me too.
またメール送るね。
暇な時でいい。
お父さんこそ返事は暇な時でいいのに。
Dad had a habit of secretly reading texts from his beloved daughter, even during checkups, and sending responses in whatever openings he could find. He may have been curt, but he loved me, and the feeling was mutual. After saying goodbye to him, I turned around quickly. As our family rule that you couldn't skip breakfast under any circumstances. I wanted to save the taste, but didn't have much time to spare. Imagining what breakfast waited me was my greatest pleasure this morning. I was sure it'd be a stack of salad, as Dad was hardcore about vegetables. There was indeed a place set up for me at the table, but there was no mouth-watering breakfast there. All I found was a fork and a dirty plate covered with sauce and salad dressing. The family had a policy of clearing your plate as soon as you finished eating. Eating dirty dishes out on display like this never happened.
お父さん、急いでて食器を下げるのを忘れたのかな。
Was it his or was it that double? That didn't seem right. He left the house as calm as always. Besides, if this was Dad's food, then where was mine?
私の食事は。
I checked the kitchen. There was no food waiting for me there. A plate and fork were in the sink. They appeared to be Dad's. I was always supposed to clean our dishes before going to school each day. Then was that really my food out in the dining room?
どういうこと？
I felt like someone was pulling a sick prank on me. My dad wasn't the type to leave his dirty dishes on the table nor forget to make breakfast for me. Then whose food was this? If it were mine, then I was the only one who could have eaten it.
私なの？
I wasn't hungry. In fact, if someone told me I already eaten, I might have even believed them. Come to think of it, Dad only seemed oddly curt when I saw him just now. Normally, when I said good morning to him, he responded in kind. But what if that was the second time I'd said that to him this morning? Ooh.
何それ？ホラー映画みたいなんだけど。
More like a horror visual novel, but yeah. What, did I have a split personality who got up and ate before me? Then did that mean these really were the remains of a breakfast I'd already eaten?
何それ怖い。さもなきゃすっごく面白いんですけど。
I tried joking around, but no one would respond, because I was the only one here.
参ったな。
It seemed my mind had jumped ahead again. My usual bad daydreams were even worse than usual today. It reminded me of Moon Knight. It wasn't uncommon for me to be plagued with a weird daydream when I spaced out, only to snap out of it and found myself in a completely different location. I'd gotten a detailed checkup to see if it was some kind of illness, but the results turned out nothing. My mother urged me not to tell anyone about it because health concerns tended to reflect badly on auditions. Apparently she had similar problems as me when she was my age. So I decided to take it easy on myself and go to the infirmary later. Miss Nagato said that she was also prone to bad daydreams. Oh, yeah, that. As such, she was the only one who understood my suffering. Spacing out and feeling particularly sluggish, I managed to finally drag myself to the school gate.
風邪じゃないんだし、しっかりしなきゃ。この程度で授業を休んでたら勉強に遅れちゃう。
I was wondering how this story would go with Riria, with how her story is. And I honestly was not expecting whole Moon Knight-esque. What is it? EID? EID, I think, is what it was. And yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting. And I know this came out before Moon Knight, but I'm just saying. That's the closest comparison I can make. I was feeling down, but my body was still in good health. I spurred myself onward up the stairs and finally arrived at my familiar classroom. No room hadn't started, yet the class was unusually lively with laughter this morning. Everyone was crowded around my desk. What was going on? It was like someone was sitting in my place and the others were having a riot over what they had to say. I checked to see who the center of attention was. And when I saw her face, I gasped. Of course. Of course. Oh, I see the background is becoming a little distorted. It was her again. Deja vu, a forgotten daydream was now replaying before me. Magical Lily was in my spot again. She was sitting there like it was her own desk, chatting with the rest of the class. Though that outfit was clearly not fit for school, no one found it strange. They were all chatting with her as though they thought she was me. The class was in high spirits. That I could not let slide. After all, Magical League was over for me, and this was school. Though I might fool around and recite one of my old catchphrases every now and then, I generally try to stay away from it. I thought of it as my way of separating school from work, drawing the line between my public and private lives. But the me over there didn't care about any of that. He flaunted the character Magical Lily and was sucking up to every last person there. To me, it was beyond aggravating. But the classmates loved it and thought I was funny. So, was Lily who everyone really wanted? Was it pointless of me to separate work from school? Did you just answer her? Okay, yeah, she's talking to Riria now. Time stood still. Lily stood up and faced me. I tore a path through my classmates, still frozen in laughter, and got right up in her face.
私の世界を乗っ取る気？冗談じゃないわよ。消えなさいよ。あんたの世界は舞台の上でしょ。それも架 この世界のね。そうかな。リリー、この舞台の上でもうまくやっていけると思うけどな。はあ、わけわかんないこと言ってないで、さっさと。
They smirked and then faded away. The world suddenly began to move again at that moment. I was surrounded by my laughing classmates.
ねえねえ、布川さん、あれやってよ、あれ。散らかってるおもちゃを片付けるときに使う魔法、あれなんだったっけ。
My classmates urged me to do my cleaning magic shtick with a gleam in their eyes. And I was in a good mood to play along and do it for them, but right now I was in no state of mind for any of that. After all, this was school. I couldn't bring out my work self here. That wasn't the issue. Lily was all in the past. She couldn't be here anymore, so I'd had to let them all down.
ねえねえ、やってよやってよ。布川さん、ごめんなさい。
Oh, that was all you got. Oh, that's no. My classmates looked puzzled at me by my sudden 180. We were all having fun, and yet I ruined it all by being a total wet blanket. I bit my lower lip as I quietly took my seat. My classmates laughed awkwardly as they returned to their desk. Looking like that was a little. And I realized that on the video, it looks like I'm looking directly at her, looking right at her. Let's go. Oh, she's on the right side of my screen. Okay. And waiting behind them was Lily smirking.
みんなも私と一緒の方が楽しいみたい。布川リリアなんて誰も求めてないんじゃないかな。
This has a familiar sound. All of a sudden, everyone burst into laughter. They were looking at me as they laughed their guts out. It was all so abrupt I had no idea what they found so funny, but they were all looking my way, so it must have been something to do with me. When the teacher was laughing, I was the only one out of the loop. Why, what was going on? It was like the teacher called on me to read from the textbook only to catch me completely flat-footed. After all, they had probably been spacing out. After all, I didn't know what they were all laughing at.
布川さん、模範解答素敵な演技でありがとう。ほらほらみんな、静かに静かに。
The teacher merely turned back to the blackboard and continued writing equations. Did that mean I'd been asked a question and given an answer that made everyone else laugh? Then I heard giggling. Everyone else was too busy taking notes in the lecture. Only I heard it. I knew who it was by now.
あんたが余計なことをしたんでしょ。
It really is kind of like Moon Knight. Like the DID of Moon Knight.
ギラギラした目でお勉強熱心なあんたより愛くるしくってお茶目で、そして親切に勉強を教えてあげちゃう私の方がみんな大好きみたい。あんた何を言ってんの。布川さん、ここ教えてもらってもいい？いいよ。
My classmate had spoken not to me, but to Lily. She shuddered around the classroom like she was the teacher, everyone calling to her one after another.
ここってどうやるのかな。ここはね、X を先にお掃除魔法しちゃうの。
布川さん、俺も教えてもらってもいいかな。
X と Y の3乗をカットの外にクリンクリンして。
やばい、俺現役アイドルに教えてもらっちゃったよ。つぶやきてー、超つぶやきてー。ツイッターやブログに書いたりしたらリリー困
You just had to pull the Oni-chan.
絶対につぶやいたりしないでね。
I felt like I was going to be sick. Did I really have split personalities? That's what I was just talking about. Was Lily taking over my body without my knowledge? My vision distorted, and a moment later I found myself in the corner of the classroom. Lily was sitting in my seat again. That was right. I was standing where Lily had been just a second ago. I was surprised then and there. My hands were no, it wasn't just at my feet. No, my whole body was invisible. I saw my arms around in panic, but I couldn't touch anyone. No one noticed my presence. I had vanished.
二重人格なんかじゃないよ。そんなのリリーやだ。だから私ずっと言ってるじゃん。あんたは赤なの。赤。
それは
So
あ
it's
んた
not
でしょ。
D&D.
何年も前に洗い落とされた赤じゃない。
So it's not D&D. D-I-D.
違うの。昔話をしてるんじゃない。今の話。布川リリアはクルスリリアなんていう全然可愛くないブサイク女の赤を落として永遠の10歳の愛くるしくてキュートなマジカルリリーに生まれ変わるの。バカじゃない。私もう高校生よ、高校生。それを今さら小学生アイドル痛々しいったらありゃしない。そう？ 17歳強とかと同じで永遠に小学生の心を忘れない少女アイドルってありだと思うけどな。
G kind of does have a point there.
勝手にありにしないでよ。消えなさいよ。
消えてるのはそっちだと思うけどな。
これ戻しなさいよ。
No matter how much I swung my hand, I couldn't see it. Lily was right. I was disappearing.
教室のみんなが言ってるの聞いたでしょ。みんなね、私の方が楽しくていいって。というか布川リリアはなんかおっかなくて近寄りがたかったって言ってる子もいた。
布川さんってやっぱり面白いね。
俺らのことどうせ一般人だと見下してるんだろうなって思ってたけど、全然そんなことなかったな。全然興味なかったけど、俺ファンになっちゃいそう。
求められてるのは私の方だから、あんたはいらないの。クルスリリア。お掃除プリンセスを卒業した新しいリリアの魅力そんなの誰も求めてないって。みんなが求めてるのは私。お掃除の国のプリンセス、永遠の小学4年生マジカルリリーなの。
I couldn't even reply. Deep down, I'd already suspected, known she was right. Even everyone from my fans agency to the rest of Flower High. I expected the former magical Lily. No one even cared about Riria Kurusu. I was the one who wasn't needed. Nobody wanted Riria Kurusu. All anyone wanted was for me to stay magical Lily forever. I looked like a monster compared to back then. Just look at my long and gangly limbs, my fat and hideous breast and rear. My former cuteness was absolutely nowhere to be found. No one would ever accept a body like this. Eventually, I went beyond invisible and became nothing but air. I didn't even have eyes to shed tears anymore. I was gradually losing the will to assert myself. For long, I became an observer, watching Lily as though she were on TV. It just all seemed disconnected. The sadness of being rejected and the bitterness of being replaced, they all felt so distant. I was glad I became air. Otherwise, I probably would have cursed my body and clawed at it until it was no more. I was glad I lost my eyes, because otherwise I might have drowned in my own tears. well, looks like for once we are going to have a shorter episode of Iwaihime for once. Because I wasn't expecting it to be that short. I hope you enjoyed this video of Iwaihime. Razor. I'm gonna install this fucking razor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Iwaihime. If you did, subscribe, check out other videos I've done, and see you next time. Bye bye.